All right, I want to welcome everybody to the first lecture of this year's Information City Lectures. My name is Kate Williams, and the lecture series is co-hosted by myself and Professor Emeritus Abdullah Kalamat as part of our community informatics work here at the school. And this year we changed the name from the Digital Divide Lecture Series, which it's been for the last 6 or 7 years, to the Information City Lectures, and I want to take a moment to explain that. First of all, we know that the digital divide is still with us, and we think of the divide in terms of access, literacy, and content. So we've been working on these three fronts, and we even say on more fronts for many years. But what's interesting about that approach is it's very individual focused. You're concerned about, does every individual have access? What kind of access do they have? How do you get people's skills? And then what kind of content do they manipulate? What do they do online? So UCDB came into town, which was this federally funded broadband project, which got a lot of people thinking about citywide solutions, right? It was supposed to be a citywide solution to the broadband problem, the broadband divide. So as a result of that, a number of us started discussions, and we, between the researchers on campus and people off campus who were working on this, recycling, providing web development services for local organizations, we decided to continue the tradition of UCDB by forming something we call Information City, which is really the beginning of citywide and campus community, institutional and individual conversations and collaborations around how do we surmount this divide as a city, or these divides as a city. So we think that this approach is going to get us some solutions that we aren't able to get to when you just think of it in terms of the one, and one person. So the beginning of this lecture series, we're very happy to have the speaker that we have, and I think the rest of the speakers will be attacking this Information City issue in a variety of ways. I'm really pleased that you all can see that Info City is now a logo. It's not just a discussion, it's also a logo.
Is it trademark?
I don't think we've gotten to that yet, actually. So don't give it away. Don't let people know that. So I want to, at this point, introduce the student who's going to introduce the speaker. That's the routine we do here with these lectures, is a student from community informatics always introduces the people who are speaking. And the student who's introducing this time is Noah Lenstra, who is a doctoral student on the verge of being a doctoral candidate, getting ready to submit his proposal. And he's been here for his master's, his CIS, and now his PhD. He's going to introduce the featured speaker of today. Thanks, Noah.
Okay. So thank you. I'm pleased to be here, and I'm very pleased to be introducing the Executive Director of the Urbana Free Library. So Celeste is thrilled to be the new Executive Director of the Urbana Free Library as of April Fool's Day this year. So she has over 20 years of experience working in public libraries, and she loves serving the public. She has a master's in information in library science from the University of Michigan, and she thrives in being part of a community. And she was the president of her daughter's elementary school parent and teacher student organization, and she was also on the University of Michigan Community Engagement Coordinating Council. So really someone who has a strong track record in getting involved. Here she has recently joined the Urbana Rotary Club, and she has enjoyed talking with community groups about the Urbana Free Library, and we're really thrilled to have her as the first speaker in the Information City Lecture Series. With that, I will let Celeste tell us more about the Urbana Free Library and in the context of the Information City, and thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me here today. I'm really thrilled to be here in the Urbana community and here in Gislis. The library has a very strong partnership with Gislis Nordhusen. Is it better if I stand? That I can see everyone? Okay. I wanted to be in the same playing field, but I don't want to miss eyeball-to-eyeball contact. So thank you for being here. The library could not do what it does to serve the public without the partnership that we have at Gislis. That is just a statement of fact, and we are grateful. And I am grateful to come into a situation where we have such a strong partnership, and I can hopefully help build upon that partnership. One thing that we'll be doing actually is Noah is going to do some field work at the library. He'll be, to my knowledge, the first PhD student doing research at the library to move his dissertation forward, which in part will help move ahead the research and study so that we can move move forward the knowledge of how seniors and technology work together so that we can provide better experiences to people at our library and hopefully nationwide. So again, Noah, thank you for reaching out to us. We're thrilled to have this opportunity to work with you and provide this opportunity to our public to work with you as well. So on that happy note, the Urbana Free Library has been in this community for 140 years. We're celebrating for this year, and we're reaching out into the community. So I'll put a little plug out there now. If you know of community groups that might want to hear about the library, that would like us to come out to them, we would be thrilled to have the opportunity for you to make introductions for us, because you will be the people in different community organizations. You will be the trusted party. We are the outsider for some people, and we don't want to be the outsider, but we are until they get to know us. So we are always looking for an opportunity to reach out to different groups in a way that they want to hear from us and talk about what the library can provide to them. So thank you for any insight you can provide to us. And I also have handouts, volunteer opportunities at the Urbana Free Library. So we'll talk more about this later, but if you're interested in working at the library as a volunteer and getting some experience helping the public with technology needs, the people I've talked to have had a really great time with it, and we value the experience of having you in our building, looking around, serving the public, and asking us questions about how it is we do what we do, and really questioning us and engaging with us so that we think about our work in different ways too. We learn a lot from the students being with us, and again, we are grateful to you and your questions and the experiences you bring to us. So, what I want to do today is share some of the wonderful things that are happening. This was designed by one of our teens, Naomi, who's a very talented artist, using some of the technology that has been made available via a partnership we have with the Community Fab Lab for our Teen Open Lab, which occurs Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And we'll talk more about that. I'm going to start with younger kids first. But the Urbana Free Library serves a population of over 41,000 people. And the people that live in our community are either very wealthy or not very wealthy. About 70% of the students in the middle school, for example, grades 6 through 8, are on free or reduced lunch. 70% is a very high number. So we have a lot of different needs, as you would in any community, but there's definitely disparities between people at the upper end of what their means and resources are and people who have fewer means and resources. And as the public library, it is our job to serve the entire public. And so we look to serve our entire people, set of people, and we do that in different ways. And partnering is one of the ways that we do that. So this is a print moment, but the Urbana Rotary Club worked with other Rotary clubs across the state to pull together a box of resources, acknowledging that people have dyslexia and how libraries can work with people with dyslexia, because the whole printed word is a barrier for people with dyslexia, obviously. So working with the local Rotaries and the statewide Rotaries, they pull together information to help us be better at doing what we do, so that when people want to come in to use the technology pieces, they're not put off by the print barrier pieces as much. So we are grateful again for partnerships in all different ways. And so they've got a couple of videos about dyslexia, as well as kids' books that talk about it, and then handouts for parents and librarians and such. So we're figuring out how to put this into our collection, whether it's going to circulate as a box or will be staff tools, but again, partnerships help us improve what we do. So old school PowerPoint slide with lots of things to read, not too many, but some. We're thrilled to announce that with WILL-TV, with the Public Broadcasting Corporation, we have received a grant with the Ready to Learn initiative, and it's going to focus on technology, literacy, and math for kids ages 2 through 8. And we're thrilled to be one of the participants in this big group of people across the part of the state. Only 20-some grants were given out, and we're thrilled to be part of the set of people who are going to have this here. And it's going to be hands-on manipulatives as well as technology, and being able to partner with all these different institutions, Head Start, WILL, and others. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think, and people don't talk about math literacy as much as other literacies, and I think that it's going to be fun to challenge ourselves to think about how we can roll that out in passive ways, manipulatives on tables, as well as particular programming ways. And then again, using the computers that we have in the youth room, because it's really important that we have computers for the parents and the kids to use. Our parenting computers in the kids' room are very popular.
And sure, occasionally does the parent ignore their kid completely while they're doing whatever they're doing? Sure. But for the most part, parents do a good job of monitoring their kids' fun behavior in the library as well as getting their business done. Their business could be a lot of resumes, we have staff helping out with resumes, job applications, looking for healthy recipes, and also just blowing off steam and getting on Facebook, connecting with other people. And we don't judge what people do on the internet unless it's illegal. We say, good for you, use the computer, have fun, how can we help you? So parents use those computers all the time. We also have circulating notes for the kids, and I've got one. We've got them that check out, but then we also have some we're gonna have just for in-house use. The checked out ones are always checked out. We've got one for the Battle of the Books, which is a program that we do, so it's got all those books loaded on it. And then we have other just kid books, and we have notes for adults and teens as well. And those are pretty popular, and we probably need to buy more because they're always checked out. And some people are never going to buy themselves a Nook, and some people want to try one just to see what it's like, and some people have got every other product at home already and don't need a Nook but just want to touch it. We also have little baby computers, so the kids get to play on small computers that do different games and different kinds of things and get familiar with, as their parents see appropriate, screen time under whatever age they think is appropriate or not. So we try to provide parents and kids different options to use technology in ways that work with their family. Whether or not they have 6 computers at home or whether they don't have computers at home, we want to give them different choices. And they get used all the time. So I'm stealing from Amber Cox's wonderful presentation she's given. I even didn't redo the slides, I just put them right there. She did such a lovely job. The Teen Open Lab started last year in March, and in response to teens' use of the library and being shushed all the time, there was some conflict between physically the way the library is laid out and where the teen collection is with regards to where the circulation desk is and where a reference desk is. The teens are right in that area, so it's great if they have questions, they can get help right away. But they're teens and they make noise, God forbid they make noise, but they are people and they take up space, and there was a lot of conflict of behaviors and spaces. So Joel Spencer talked with the teens and had a meeting and said, what do you want your library to do for you? And they wanted to use the library but in their own way, and they worked through together what would work for the teens. What do they want to do? They want to be in the library. That is success right there. But how can we make the space a space that they really, really want to be and they want to bring their friends to? So we now have it set up at Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 3 to 5. 6th through 12th graders are welcome, and they are there all the time. We use the auditorium, so we don't have a devoted space. We don't have enough space to make it a devoted space that we need all the time. We barely have space for everything. So what we have done is taken over a couple of closets that used to have tables and chairs and squished the tables and chairs elsewhere. And we have worked with the Fab Lab on campus who have given us a loan. They got grants, they've given us equipment that we can use. And so we provide a flexible makerspace for the teens to use in the way they want to use it. And so what do we have? We have a mobile computer lab on a cart. We've got gaming stations, we've got vinyl cutters, we've got a 3D printer. People can record music, they can do drawings. So I had the drawing up front. This is another drawing that Naomi did. We have the 3D printers, and we I didn't have anything to do with this, which is great. Staff are so amazing at this library. They really love their community and are always thinking of new ways to engage. So Joel and people who volunteered at the lab were thinking, we've got this different technology, and we want to be more project-based than we will teach you how to use this thing. Find out what people want. But staff have to learn the stuff too, so they created a project for themselves, and that was with the library's anniversary coming up in this year. Let's use some of the drawing software to create a version of the library. So they did, and one of our interns, actually Sarah Bond, created the file that looked the best. And so we printed a tiny one off on our printer, which is really cute. But then the Fab Lab folks thought it was so cool, they went and printed on their big 3D printer a bigger version of the Tupple building. And so that was really neat and really fun to see staff increase their digital literacy skills so they can better work with patrons in a more natural way and not feel nervous when people walked up about, oh, are they going to ask me this question? Oops, that was backwards. Those are forwards. So since it started in March last year, we've had over, probably at this point, 3,400 teams, and we've had over 700 volunteer hours. We've got people from Gislis that come, and we have people from the Fab Lab that come. And it's really a lot of fun. I know I'm trying to be there every day just for a few minutes to see who's there and how things are going, and just soak up the energy of all the kids being kids and learning stuff and teaching each other and teaching us. It's really a wonderful opportunity, and I wouldn't have access to a 3D printer unless I knew about the Fab Lab and went to campus to do that. So having it be right there has kind of made some of our adult patrons jealous, and we're working on how to give them opportunities to play at the Fab Lab as well without encroaching upon the teen space, because they own that space. They redesign the space. They really do work together with our teen librarians to say what they want out of it. And so they've asked for another gaming station, which we set that up, and we've moved tables around, and it is very community driven, which is exciting. They had ping pong out the other day. I'm like, how old school is that? They had put a table up in a net, and they were playing ping pong, and then next to them was Wii, and next to them was Minecraft going on. So it's been a really great opportunity. So we also bought sewing machines. Amber thought that the technology is not just IT technology, but technology more broadly. And the kids were asking about this. So we bought 2 sewing machines, and they're going to town on them. And speaking of project-based work, there was a young woman who came in the other day, and she locked herself down, and Amber said, what would you like to do? And she said, I want to sew a dress. I want to make a dress. And Amber said, great, we've actually got some fabric, we've got this and that. Do you know how to sew? And she said, no. Okay, so you're going to make a dress at the Fab Lab, but it's not going to be today. But we're going to start with some things, like, here's what I think might work. How does that sound to you? We have a zombie prom coming up end of November, and the kids, they make costumes and come in. So she said, you know, would it be fun for you to design something and have it made for zombie prom in 2 months? Does that sound like something that works for you? Do you want to have it done sooner? What do you want? And really work with this young lady who thought that that was very reasonable. So we're excited to teach her how to sew, and she's going to make a dress for zombie prom, and then she can move on from there and make whatever she wants. But she doesn't have access to sewing machines at home, and now she does. So people are drawing and really, really doing great stuff. We've got these great tablets that the Fab Lab has on loan to us, and they've done really amazing things. And then we have a musical setup, so students go into a closet and they shut a door and we let them do that. Teens in a closet alone is not always something you promote, but we've had great success. The lab has been an utter success. And they go in and they make music. And we've had the libraries purchase some equipment, the Fab Lab has loaned a lot of equipment to us. But then we have people in the community who've also brought in their own things. So one of our shelvers works at the lab. We pay shelvers to help out as well, so we make sure we have enough people to always help and to provide whatever either crowd control or technical help that people need. But one person has got a set of guitar pedals. And so sometimes he'll bring that in from home so that people doing music, if they know, Bryce is going to be working and that the teens who want to use this are going to be in, he'll sometimes bring his personal equipment in so the kids can try these different effect pedals. So the kids, get to learn more stuff, and he gets to share his knowledge, and everybody wins. So the 3D printer, I showed you a little bit about those. The kids do a lot of fun stuff. One young man was working on making himself a chess set of pieces that he had designed, and then he's going to play chess. And this is an example of one of the stickers that you can make on the vinyl cutter. And also with the vinyl cutter, you can put a pen in it, so you can design something. You don't have to cut out a sticker. You can actually use it more like a printer, but it looks more like hand-drawn as opposed to an inkjet or a laser printer or something. So it has a different look and feel. So it gives the students different opportunities to hone their craft in different ways. So the library offers free Wi-Fi. And we get it free too, which is really an amazing benefit to not have to pay for Wi-Fi. So Gola Broadband provides Wi-Fi to the library, and the staff use it and the public use it, and we are thankful. We have people out on the porch every day enjoying a cup of coffee from the cafe, perhaps. And they're using the Wi-Fi. We have homeless people that we see, people who are self-proclaiming themselves as being homeless. They sit out at the library at different times, and they use the Wi-Fi, and they have said how happy they are to be able to go into the lab upstairs and do things in the lab and be in a community of people using the lab, as well as on their private time when they just want to pop over and get on a Wi-Fi. They pop in all hours of the day and night, just get close enough to the building, do their business, and move on that too. So everybody loves the Wi-Fi, and we're happy it's free. We are happy to participate with Martin and his groups. There's a state grant through the DCEO, Digital Literacy for All Learners, and the focus on this grant is, again, project-based. You keep hearing me say that. We're looking at reaching out as a city, but at some levels we can work with individuals and how they want to learn. So it's not a matter of we will have a class and you will come and do the class in this order. We're trying to look at ways we can give people the individualized learning for the things that they want to learn in the way that they want to learn it. So as volunteers, one thing that you would learn with us is how to work with people and their different learning styles. And we have lots of conversations with staff. So, I work with this person and they weren't really hearing me. When you work with Bob, what do you do to help him? Or Bob just likes to ask lots of questions because he likes to talk to young girls that way. And that happens too, but, and that is good to know. But working with different people's learning skills helps you be a more well-rounded professional. I have a cold, so I apologize for not speaking clearly today. So part of this grant is that we have different workshops, including the demystifying technology workshop, which helps people become more comfortable with the innards of computers so that they're not the mysterious black box. You can see how they work. And these were offered for adults to come in and sample different things and to try out some of the things in the Fab Lab. We also have funding to provide a person to be in the Fab Lab and other programs to provide, again, one-on-one instruction to people. And so we're excited to have this opportunity. And the grant is, we're in month 2, I think, out of 12. So we're rolling along and thrilled to be part of it. Also, Martin had a group of students that looked at innovation spaces across our communities here. So we have a Fab Lab, we have maker spaces, we have the library doing this, we have the other library doing that. Different institutions provide different services. What does it look like in a landscape? Not our individual little places and silos, but as a community, what are the resources available? And so they evaluated in their studio class those different things. And so if you're interested in their work and how they were thinking about our community and the innovation spaces broadly, this talk will be available and anyone can take a look. But I encourage you to take a look. There's a lot of good work happening. And we were very glad to be a part of it. So here's the handout. We have 2 positions open right now for volunteers that you might be interested in. We are really happy to have tech volunteers work up on the 2nd floor to help our adults and teens who want help with the computers. We have people stationed regularly at the reference desk area so that you can provide one-on-one, in-depth talking with people and working with them and mentoring them on their particular problems they're having at the moment. Sometimes it's as simple as, I can't get the printer to work. And sometimes it's, I need to lay out a PowerPoint for a job interview and I don't know how to use PowerPoint. Or I am stuck formatting my Word document, or whatever it is, I can't get through this website. The tech volunteers, because they're volunteers and we also have a reference desk person as well, you really get to spend the time with the patrons to help them work through their problems. The reference desk staff are torn between many different obligations they have running at any given point in time, answering the phone, getting people set up on the computer, answering computer questions, helping people in the stacks. So the volunteer actually has the luxury of spending time with patrons and working through their questions. And that is a great benefit that we offer. Also, we have people that work on Saturdays and provide one-on-one, it's a computer 101 class actually, except it's not a class, it's actually, here's the space. We have 2 small meeting rooms, you can fit about 5 people in each meeting room, and we have people gather and then work with our volunteers to come in, and they'll bring in their tablet or they'll bring in their laptop or they'll bring in whatever, and they'll say, I can't make this work, or I can make it work but I also wanted to do this. And so they come in with different levels of expertise, 0 expertise to, I want to do this one Excel thing on my Mac. Can you help me with that? And so we do this on a weekly basis, and that's been quite popular as well. This, the roles of the people at the desk, the technology volunteers, as well as this particular, the class, has changed over the years. We've responded to our patrons. So it was more class-like in the beginning on the Saturday classes, and we found that it wasn't as helpful, and people asked and they wanted their particular questions. And so we have changed it, and I guess we'll change it again when people say this isn't working for me, or people stop coming. We want to make sure that people are coming, and they are coming, and it's working. But we do like to touch base with them and see, is this what you're looking for? Is it serving you? So this is the lab, which has been redone. It's a little bit fuzzy, I apologize for that, but you can see a cloverleaf table at the top and then tables set up in different ways around. It used to be a very traditional tables all facing one way, which is really easy for monitoring people's behaviors and making sure their behavior is appropriate to being in a public place, shall we say. But it wasn't really great for collaboration. And people were sometimes too close and get elbowy, and people wanted to collaborate, but there wasn't a lot of space, especially if you're too close to your neighbor already. So there was a lot of discussion that happened with our patrons, surveys, discussions, focus groups, and class here evaluated all of these things and developed a plan, which then Martin and Joel built in someone's garage, this amazing cloverleaf table that allows people to collaborate easily and differently, and then laying out the room in a different way, and it's been a huge success. There are a lot fewer negative patron interactions, shall we say, in the lab since it's been set up this way. It's actually physically quieter, from what I've been told. People get along better, they get what they need better, and even with more collaboration happening, it's just a more peaceful place. And so, again, talking to the patrons directly and finding out what they want has benefited them as well as us as an institution that needs to serve them. We think we're doing a better job now. So after a while, this probably won't work either, and we'll see behaviors change and we'll respond to that. But for now, I think this is going really well. And the children's department has actually said, I wonder how we can lay out the parenting computers differently, because again, just a couple of long tables. And you know, parents have their kids with them, and the kids want to be with mom and dad, and it isn't as helpful as it might be. So that is one of the things we're looking at as far as space goes. How can we lay out this space to make it better for people to use? So perhaps we'll get a call for more volunteers being requested. So working with Noah and Kate, we offered the Get Connected workshop. This was actually a study. We're a public library. It's a public place. It is a public place, so people should expect they will be seen in a public place, but they don't expect to be researched upon being in a public place. So we were thankful that Kate and Noah came with a really great perspective, which was, we want to talk to people who want to talk to us. We will provide the opportunity to learn how to use Zoom, which is a software program like Skype, if they are interested in learning it. But if they don't want to participate in the study, that's fine. We want to teach whoever wants to learn, because it's important to reach out to seniors about technology. But if they don't want to do the study, that's fine. And I think you had really good turnout and really good rate of people wanting to participate also. So they all did 100%. So giving people the choice allowed them the opportunity to participate, and the results were really interesting. That people said they were happier after the class than they had been earlier in the day and in the previous week. So I know the data is still being analyzed, but the preliminary data was very positive. And it wasn't only our library, there were other locations, again, in our sister city area that were being evaluated. So we're looking at the community as a whole and how we can reach out to them. So again, thank you for that. So, you know, self-check machines are kind of cool. The kids love it, and the adults are getting to use it too. And it's one more place where people get to touch technology and use it if they want to. And if they're not interested, they can go to the circulation desk as well. We have a homebound delivery service that takes materials to people who can't make it to the library. And what we do with that is at the senior locations, the senior residences, Mary Wilkes Towner goes to Clark Lindsay on a regular basis. And in addition to going there and helping people check out materials and check out their accounts and bring stuff to them, do reader's advisory, she also does technology work on a regular basis when she goes. But she and other librarians sometimes do special, bring in the devices your kids and grandkids gave you that you don't know how to use, and we will help you use them. We can show you how to download ebooks. We can show you how to get to whatever it is on the web you want to get to. But a lot of what we hear and some of what your study showed is that people get devices that they didn't pick for themselves. And so they don't maybe at first have the ownership of the device or the knowledge or the social network to dive in and start using themselves. And if they have a little bit of support up front and they know Mary's going to be there every month, they feel more comfortable trying it and using it and keep using it, not just putting it aside. And so we're happy to provide that opportunity for people as well. We have started another collection of ebooks. We've got the My Media Mall, and we have the 3M Cloud Library. And we love having a couple of choices to give people. The Cloud Library is new for us, and it's integrated into the catalog. And we've had really good feedback on how easy it is to use. And again, when you're talking about some people in our community that don't have a lot of access to books, but always have their phones with them. Maybe they don't make it to the library ever because they're too busy for whatever reasons, but if we can say it's 3 clicks and you've got a book on your phone, we've had really good success in talking to people about that, and they've been really happy. And I'm surprised the wait list isn't longer on books, so I guess it's still a secret, so spread the word. I mean, I was happy to get the Maze Runner today straight from the club. I'm like, there should be a line on this book. I should have had to wait. Although with ebooks, we shouldn't ever have to wait, but that is a separate discussion. Different day. So again, trying to make sure that we can reflect the community back to itself in different ways. We have the local history online collection. The Champaign County Historical Archives lives in the Urbana Free Library. It is the history of our county, and it's really amazing. And this product is 10 years old this year. So we are happy to have it. We are happy to think about ways we can increase it. I'd like to see more podcasting and oral history in our community that we can then make available via our website. And so we will hope to build on that. And then this is a super exciting thing with a fuzzy picture. I apologize, should have kept it small. J.O. Cunningham was an early settler here, and he wrote the definitive early Champaign County history. And he died a long, long time ago. But he wrote journals, and 2 of them were recently discovered in a garage in Texas. And the gentleman was going through his mom's stuff, and he thought, these look really old and maybe they're valuable. And he researched them, found out that this was from J.O. Cunningham. He contacted the Cunningham Children's Home in Urbana and said, do you want these? These are from your founder. And they said, yes, we would like to have these books from 1853 and 1890 something. And so they're journals of his settling in here and his life here in early Urbana. And in turn, the Children's Home Board said, Champaign County Historical Archives, would you like these to be part of your collection? And we said, yes, we would, thank you very much. So we are going to scan them, and we're going to transcribe them and put them up on the web for the whole world to see, so that, again, we can make the community, give the community back to itself and give the community to the world. So we're very excited about that. So this is my contact information. I'm thrilled that you invited me out to be here today. And then this is, again, my plug for Amber. She does a really fantastic job coordinating the volunteer program and, again, learning and growing over the years. What she's done is she has volunteers who are in their 2nd year be the volunteer coordinators. So the volunteers learn leadership skills and time management skills and all, or you already bring them to the table. But people run the volunteer program as GISLA students and help other GISLA students help us serve the public. So we think it's a really great model, and we're very excited. And if you're interested, please give her a call. So thank you very much. I can sit down in the middle. And I'm gonna, could you pass these gears around? Someone else brought his 3D printer, and some guy contacted us and wanted to bring his 3D printer to the library to show the teens. And if you hold them, they're actually gears and they spin. So if you hold the middle part, it'll rotate. And it's pretty intense what these 3D printers can do, and they're not as expensive as they once were, and they keep coming down in price. So, questions or comments?
While you all are thinking of a question, I have 2 or 3. So I'll lay one of them on you.
Okay.
It seems to me that with all this new stuff in the library that you described, that the library is actually getting reinvented or rethought. This is a word from last week. Everybody who's in community matters. And I'm really interested, because I wasn't aware that you had them, that you have parenting computers in your children's department, because back in the day, children needed a separate space from the adults. They earned a separate space in the library, helped by children's librarians who were advocates for them. Now, parents are bringing their children, and you need to have room for the parents in the children's department. So that just seems to be an example of the way the library is shifting its way of doing things based on all this new stuff. Sewing machines are another one. Have you had conversations about this in the library so that you realize that you are investing in your library as you go?
I hope that the libraries, generally speaking, that public libraries, not saying academic libraries wouldn't, the public libraries really are on board with what their patrons are looking for, and hopefully continually are changing, adding new collections, whether it's, back in the day having street lit was controversial, but it's what people were reading, so you should buy them for your library.
whether it's back in the day when you didn't have fiction in your public library. So I hope this is part of a general continuum, and that we will continue to see things shift and grow depending on what the patrons are looking for and what we think they might like. And so, sometimes it's not in response to what a patron has asked for. It's let's try something new and see how it goes, and then respond back and forth that way. So the kids had asked for some sewing machines, and we were thinking the same thing, so that worked out really well. But sometimes we're going to buy something new and try something new that maybe the public hasn't thought of, and then we see if it works or if it's an abject failure. And if it is, then you just try something new. So take some risks, hopefully, and try new things and evaluate and shift as you go. So I expect that you'll see that.
I'm going to ask the second question, then it's over to you guys. When you talked about the sewing machine and the girl who now needs to learn to sew in 2 months, and then sew something basic, I thought about, because we were talking about sewing information on Wikipedia, what about sewing information and how to, in your book collection, have you made conscious efforts to sort of reintegrate these two sides of the library, you would say, the old formats and the new, and has that been successful? Are you still tweaking it, or what do you think is the potential for that?
I think it's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Actually, Amber and Joel have thought about this issue, and they are working with the Friends of the Library to borrow one of their book trucks so that we can have a cart of books for the teens in the lab on topics that seem to be of interest to teens and using the lab kinds of equipment.
Yeah.
So there is a teen collection upstairs, but these will be specific to the kinds of things they might be doing in the lab. And they won't be for checkout for adults to come down, it's for the teen lab. Now, if it's a book or books that we don't own already, we can certainly buy them, so there's copies upstairs for other people to have as well, but this will be a collection devoted to the teens using the space. So, and it is one of the things we're looking at, how is our collection being used? What are the most popular kinds of items? As we look at spending our collection money, I mean, no budget is infinite. So are we using it in a way that reflects what the patrons have shown us they like by checking things out? Also knowing that if you only have 3 books on a topic, they're only going to get so many checkouts. So trying to take all those matters into account in a way I think they haven't done in the past. We're going to push Polaris a little bit harder to give us some good reports. Not the company, but just how we use it.
Yeah.
They're fine. There's a lot of reports you can do, and that's part of it. Like, you can do anything you want. Okay, what do we really want? So yeah, we'll be evaluating the collection in that way this year too. We know that, for example, graphic novels are super popular. We have a really great collection. But I think it would be even more popular if we had more of them. Why not? And that we put them in different spots in the library. They're a little bit buried in the adult area. So this is going to be one of those things we look at, and is how much proportionate to the other part of the adult budget will go into graphic novels or youth or teen. So it's on my list. As I glance knowingly.
Awesome.
But then programming on top of that. So if you have a great collection, if you have a great sewing collection, or you have a great gardening collection, or do-it-yourself, or history, whatever your great collection is, how do you let the community know about that collection? Because maybe they like history, but didn't look in the collection the same way. Do you have speakers come in and talk about it and tie things together? How can we blog differently? How can we reflect to the community the resources that are available to it? We're absolutely looking at that, and hopefully we'll get good feedback by increased use of the library.
Actually,
Yes.
that actually leads exactly to my question. How
Great.
do you inform the community of the changes in your library?
Well, there are a number of ways that we use. So I'm out talking to different community members and community groups all the time, selling the library. We are partnering with different institutions, and so, for example, we are working with the food co-op, that they have a program, they have a cookbook class, book club, and every month they let us know what the book is, and we keep a copy at the reference desk, and people, in case people don't want to buy their own copy, they can just come in, so it's, the assignment is read the book and pick a recipe and bring it. So working with partners that maybe the library hasn't worked with in the past and getting the word out in different ways, even if it's just, here's one piece of what the library can offer you. So we have an online newsletter we put out monthly, we blog, we participate with UPTV, and there's a Page Turners TV show that has library employees talking about different library events. So we try to reach out in different ways. Newspaper articles, whenever the newspaper is interested in writing about us. There's a lovely article about the Cunningham journals coming to Urbana. it wasn't known at first that they would come to the archives for sure. So there's an article about in concept coming, and then they were gonna potentially write a follow-up article that yes, they're in the library, you can access them there later. So we're trying to reach out in all the different ways, because people hear things in different ways and they're in different places. So again, if you know of community groups that would like the library to come out and sign them up for library cards and bring materials, we are there. Does everyone here have a library card in the community in which they live? Just checking.
Speaking about the communities in which we live,
Yeah.
I've been here for many years.
Uh-huh.
It's seen many changes and patterns of coordination and cooperation between Champaign and
Mhm.
Urbana.
Mhm.
And I'm just wondering what your view is of the current
Mhm.
situation and what areas you would like to explore,
Mhm.
perhaps further
Sure.
coordination and cooperation.
We share a catalog, which is one way that we collaborate on a daily basis. So it's seamless to the patron when they place a hold, whether the book is going to come from Urbana or whether the book is going to come from Champaign. And with the delivery system through the Illinois Heartland Library System, the delivery goes back and forth twice a day. And so it's a pretty quick turnaround. I know that there has been discussion over the years of collection development and where libraries might place more of a priority. And so, for example, we have a really strong history collection, and so they might have a stronger X collection. It's not a formal agreement, but I know over the years those kinds of discussions have occurred. And Marcia and I get together regularly and have lunch and talk about how different things are happening. So when they looked at a couple of database and electronic products recently, she reached out to our library to say, we are going to do this thing. Would you like to do this thing too? Here's what it would be cost-wise and otherwise. And so we definitely are reaching across to say, here are some things. We've talked about if they're going to do some print advertising for generic kind of things like National Library Week, for example, or library card sign-up, whatever it is, that's not specific to a program, we could share the cost of a newspaper ad. And hopefully, since it's reaching the same community, all boats would rise. So I hope to do some more joint programming, which I know has happened over the years. So I think that things are moving. We could also go for grant opportunities. We are participating on some grants together as well.
Just from a longer perspective,
Yeah.
it appears historically
Mhm.
there's been sort of an implosion, especially after the systems consolidated.
Mhm.
Because back when we had a
Uh-huh.
system,
Uh-huh.
I go on the catalog and I could look at a lot more libraries
Mhm.
than I can look at today.
Mhm.
That almost seems like a step backward in the digital age. And along with that, the relationship which it came up with some of, I understand, some of the specific political issues that led to this as well as financial issues. But there are some things that we in Urbana do not have access to the catalog in Champaign because it's being held for new materials that are purchased. And does that go the other way since I don't have a Champaign card? So we also
Yes.
hold things back from Champaign.
Right, so new books don't transfer. So if you want a new book, but you can go to Champaign and
I
check it out.
know, but
But
there
if
was
it's
a
checked out,
time,
yeah. Mhm.
not too long ago,
Mhm.
when the barrier was not electronic.
Okay.
So you could borrow new books from any of the libraries from the system. So from a person especially interested in library coordination and cooperation,
Uh-huh.
historically, it seems to me that that's a step back in terms of access.
Mhm.
And I'm just wondering, I guess the short question is, do you think that bothered, am I the only one bothered by that, or is anybody else bothered by the fact that, for instance, I notice we usually don't purchase as many Blu-ray DVDs as Champaign.
Urbana's not purchasing Blu-rays, actually.
So, I mean, that's an interesting technological
Mhm.
decision that affects all the people that have an Urbana card.
Mhm.
May have top-of-the-line Blu-ray equipment.
Sure. The decision was made in prior years not to purchase Blu-rays for a number of reasons, including splitting your collection funds to finally, if you're buying 5 copies in Blu-ray and 5 copies in DVD of the same title, your budget goes down fairly quickly. But we actually recently had a discussion about this, because what's happening now is when you buy the DVD or the Blu-ray, you're getting the DVD and the Blu-ray also, you're getting both in the same box.
Right.
So we have accumulated, not 100, somewhere between 50 and 100 Blu-rays that came for free when we bought the DVD. And so staff would put them aside, knowing that we don't circulate them, but not wanting to throw them away. So, because that would be wasteful, and we wouldn't do that. So the question was raised, so do we start a Blu-ray collection knowing that it's really small and use this as a starter and see if the interest is there? Knowing that we can't clean them and resurface them like we can resurface the DVDs to get longer life out of them. Do we start it this way and try this and see how popular they are? And when people say, why aren't you buying X? You're only getting these particular ones. Explain, well, we're getting the freebies out there, and we're going to try it and see what type of negative impact goes. Or do we take a chunk of money and put it out there and see what happens? So we're leaning towards let's start with what we have now and see how things go. But as a Urbana resident, you can have Champagne's Blu-rays.
Eventually.
I've got them at home.
Oh, go over, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got them in a place to hold on Blu-rays, and they came to me. So maybe they weren't the new ones.
Right, and it takes about a year, I think.
That I don't have that piece for you. So it's not uncommon though. I'm not saying it's not a change, but it's not uncommon for local collections to keep their materials locally to serve their taxpayers first. And what I know that Champaign and Urbana do is they have a local patron first checkbox that's been checked, so that you as Urbana resident, if there are 5 copies of each DVD, and it's a DVD, and so we all own them, and all the champagnes are in, you'll have a champagne one, but if they have a champagne patron waiting, they would get it first because they pay their local dollars.
Yeah.
And that's common.
Yeah, and I recognize that, and the same thing happens with academic libraries
Sure.
at the university within the state system for academic libraries. But I was just pointing out that
Sure.
at one time it was a mission of the state of Illinois to see to it that everyone had access, that had tax-supported library service to collections on an equal basis throughout the state. Now that evolved, that policy sort of withered away. For financial reasons, I may understand that, but it's just a note of the current context. So not everything is going forward, and the cycle of public library services is something that responds to the local political and financial situations that we encounter.
Well, we do participate, and Champaign does as well, in if you have a card and you go to Chicago and you want to check out, and they participate as well, you can check out the materials there. And we do have people coming in from out of town to use our library and check things out. But you have to come. Or there's OCLC, and so you can interlibrary loan things. So I hear what you're saying.
Couple questions, Martin and then Vivian.
I'm curious, the ALA has this big push, they've gotten funding from IMLS with the Harwood Institute to really champion this library-led community engagement. Is that concept or phrase, what does that mean to you?
Nothing at the moment, actually. Right now, I'm trying to find out, it's been 5 months, so I'm still getting a finger on the pulse in my community and with my library staff and see where the library is before we start any initiatives like that. So right now, that is not on the table quite yet.
Any hints, though, how you would see that rolling out?
No, I really know. What we're trying to do this year is take the year with the 140th and roll out, use the 140-year anniversary of the library as a mechanism to reconnect with our community, because it's a great celebration of community service of its library, and we know for a fact that people don't know all the things the library does, because no one ever does. No one in any community knows all the things the library can do for them. You may not know that there are baby playgroups because you don't have kids, so it's not relevant for you to know that, but if you have a kid, or your sister has a kid, or someone else does, it's important that you've heard about these things. So we're trying to highlight each department and special things that each department does and put it out there in the different ways we talked about, so that people can learn what the library can do for them. And hopefully in a couple of years, they'll remember, oh, there's that thing that would be helpful. So we're approaching it, reaching out to the community in this way for right now, and then something in a more formal process will definitely occur. I just don't know what that will look like, whether it's Harvard Institute or some other mechanism. But right now, it's getting the word out. We did ask people to tell us why they love us, which is kind of biased, but it is a celebration.
So, and we got feedback of, I like this, I like that, and I didn't like that thing. We are hiring an IT manager. We're in the process of doing that, and when we get an IT person on board full-time, we can look at changing some things on the website so it will be easier to provide comments or more evident that we're looking for feedback. So it'll be more of that level of thing first before some initiative kind of thing. We want to work with our community so it works with our community.
I think that's the best answer you could have given.
Yeah. Oh, I think you had a question. I want to encourage you all to think about career-type questions, because you are going to be where she is in not that many years. So you need to start thinking about that, and there's a lot you don't know about that yet. So there's a whole bank of questions there that only you can ask, not us professors.
And I'm available anytime you want to give me a call or send an email. I'm happy to talk to you.
Just follow up on Kate's point.
Please.
What do you, well, I'm crazy. Did you intend to become a director of a library when you graduated from library school?
No. I mean that in a good way. It's been an ongoing process of taking leadership roles that I've happily come across. And I like to work with people and I like to serve. And so sometimes serving means taking a leadership role and helping other people serve as well. And so my career has gone in a path that's opened doors for me. And I think, well, yeah, I could do that. I have gained all this experience over the years. I've worked with people. I've listened and learned and asked questions. And yes, I could take that next step and provide something here. I can give structure and fun ideas.
So back at library school context, from the perspective you are today, is there
Yep.
something that you didn't take or you did take that you find either very helpful today in making your progression professionally, or something that you wish you'd taken and maybe you've insisted even more?
Well, you realize now that it was a long time ago in library school. So I did take a management class, actually, and that was helpful. Marita Holland had taught that. And it was one of those wonderful but terrible 8-hour classes on a Saturday in a heavily air-conditioned room starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, please, please. So the management class was helpful. But a lot has changed in 20-some years. So I would say be a good writer and communicator. That's really important. And be a really good listener. Those are good skills. Learn as much as you can about different technologies and think about how you might use them in the library. I was learning to use the security cam system the other day. Like, who knew? Who knew that this would be helpful? But like in my skill set, that wasn't in my back pocket, but now it is. So next time someone tries to steal a bike, I am on top of that. So I would say ask a lot of good questions and take things that you're passionate about and just get out there and do it. Get the practical library experience if you can. It's helpful to have field work underneath your belt so you're more comfortable if nothing else. So volunteer or get a job or whatever that is, but if you can, do just a small project. I know that we only have so many positions, Champaign only has so many positions, and there are only so many libraries in the area for you to do work at, but obviously it doesn't have to be just libraries. Your degree in information will provide you with many, many opportunities. But even if it's a small project, get in the field and start talking to people. Think about finances. To answer your question, I don't think that we talked enough about financial information in the library as a business. Not like we want to be a business, but that you have to pay people. You have to have money to pay people and buy things. And how do you balance all the competing needs in a community? When you make a decision to do X, it means you're making a decision not to do Y and Z and everything else. And those are important things to be able to think about and have a grounding in. You're welcome. Thank you for asking. You've been so attentive and so interested. Thank you. No one fell asleep. I love it.
Any final questions from faculty, staff, or students?
What's been the most rewarding part of being the executive director of the Urbana Library?
The people. The people are so amazing. The public, seeing them coming in and using the library, seeing the teens like camped out all over the floor outside the lab as well as inside the lab, and the little kids running down the hall, because actually the rewarding part is seeing them come in, but then watching them like hold on to the door handles when mom or dad want to take them. They're like, I don't want to go home. Like,
That's a photograph, that needs to
Like, I know your kid's having a meltdown, can I take this picture? So, and seeing people, I mean, people are learning stuff every day at the library. They are really changing their own lives. And whether it's reading a fiction novel that moves them or whether it's getting that job, it really is the public library in action as you would want it to be. And that is extremely rewarding because it is the public's library and they're using it.
a beautiful end note. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.